and it's actually already. I mean, that's basically how they misplayed fights and fell behind.
Definitely, and it was like so hard for SK to find like these fights because they were like so uncoordinated. But then luckily they got themselves together and found a really good engage on top lane onto enemy hyper carry with the Mel. And from then on, with the scaling of the Sivir, it seemed like SK finally fulfilled what they were looking for the whole game and just were able to over topple each other that had like no answers onto their engage.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, that's the next clip.
Yes.
Line. We have it ready.
Yes, if we can get it rolling from production any moment, then there we go.
Yeah, I mean, it's so beautiful. Like, I mean, look at that. Wolfie's just running over the poor mid laner. Poor Ivy is just getting completely focused. And after that, there's just no more damage on the side of each other. I mean, they're trying so hard to get like onto the backline to get to Negress, but she's like well pocketed there in the back.
I mean, really key that Nendo still had flash in that fight, and she's just like running out. Like they keep running till they're in a good position again, and they're like, "Oh, look, Eterna is still chasing us, so we can again like we come back online. We can play the front to back, and they take 3 kills."
I mean, yeah, also the Solaris, the Braum just standing there, the barrier. I mean, you can maybe like argue that SK was just like buying time and just waiting for the Sivir to come into game. But yeah, I mean, in the end, they're currently one of the few teams or one of the 2 teams that is still undefeated. So it works greatly for them so far.
Yeah, absolutely. It looked like it was going to go the other way. But as you say, as soon as we got to buy some space for the Sivir to do her thing, she got to press her buttons. That was pretty much when they just swung the game around. But we have another game on our hands. And this is one of, well, 2 teams that we might not have talked about a lot today. 2 teams we haven't seen much of yet. But we are going to be looking at InFuria Esports and Ionian girls.
Yeah, with the Ionian girls, also like interestingly one of the teams that is currently fighting a bit for survival, but also we have on this roster a lot of like newcomers coming into the scene, and I mean that's like kind of what we wanted to like achieve of like Game Changers Rising, that like more people try to compete and want to compete and also inspire each other. So I really like to see like this whole new roster forming out of the blue, just coming into the tournament, and yeah, I hope that they can show us something, because when I like looked at the OPGGs, I'm definitely seeing some spicy picks coming up. I would love to see the Silas. I would love to see like some brands in the jungle, maybe also like some Akalis coming out. So I think like these teams where you also have like no expectations for, they can always come out swinging. Because if I remember, like for example for EC 2 years ago, we had like with Chester Gaming a team that nobody knew. A lot of these players didn't have any competitive experience, and suddenly we have a Clef that was part of this roster playing in the highest teams, and it's just like a way to build your own legend.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like we've said before, right? These best of ones are actually a great opportunity to not just test the waters, but also take out your pocket picks. And now we are having a look here at InFuria Esports roster here, Josh.
Yeah, indeed. And here again, like I actually remember some names, Queen Ilya from the last qualifier. Maybe there was someone else actually there was in that team as well. But this is a completely new team from what I know, compared to the EC of qualifier, and Ophallacy is actually a name who was competing at this like level a lot in the past years. I think last year Ophallacy wasn't competing, maybe it was even 3 years ago where it was the last time when she was competing. But yeah, it is kind of nice to see that name again, because I actually remember the name from a longer time ago. So it will be interesting how they are gonna do. But overall, it's kind of the thing. There's a lot of new names, so there's not much we can really say about them. But it also makes it more fun to just kind of see what are they giving us, or maybe if we have a name here, actually is gonna start, grinding the ranks, as Rixella said, like with, for example, Clef in Chester Gaming like years ago as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned Ophallacy though. Any memorable champion picks, any memorable plays that are coming to mind for you as we've been discussing this now?
I think, I was checking the accounts. There's some. I mean, Diana got good buffs on this patch, so I think these teams also, they will throw us like a lot of different drafts where it's like a lot deeper into comfort. So I wonder if we see a Diana. Would be fun. I'm not gonna lie. That champ got buffed. Like always get nerfed, buffed this season. And Smolder, although Smolder got nerfed, I still think the champ is strong, and it's like a layback, free-scale pick, so even if things go wrong early, you still have something to play for, and it seems like both ADCs are actually playing the Smolder, so I think that one is going to be quite contested.
Oh, I would love to see like Diana Yasuo, like maybe like a cheeky combination, and just like some wombo combo action is definitely always something I'm looking for, especially if you're like a team. Both of his teams unfortunately currently stand like 1-2, so they are like in the range of getting maybe not into the next phase tomorrow, so they really have to put in their all. And I think it's also like the fun thing about games on like the same eye level currently, that they are very bloody. They are very much full packed of action, and I hope that we get this for like maybe like the previous game that we saw from the Rift Buddies for like 60 minutes.
Absolutely, and I mean, where can Smolder shine better than in games like those, am I right? But yeah, you're already sprinkling a little bit of the spice on there. You want to see a Diana, we want to see a Yasuo. I mean, both of these picks we've also recently seen in the LEC, where, you know, they had mixed results. So we will see how they will do here in the Game Changers if they get picked up, which is a big if, obviously.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Should we talk about all the other matchups happening, by the way? I mean, if we I feel like we're kind of running out for this match, and there's still some time, so we could actually talk about those.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you one that you, I think, would really like to talk about, which is SKF Rosa versus Vitality Rising Beast, right? Am I right?
Of course. I mean, we haven't seen Vitality yet today. I've seen them in the show match, but it will be very interesting what comes out on top. Because like, it's still best of one, to be fair. Like, even last game between Eterna and SKF Rosa, I think it could have gone either way. It was like a really just back and forth. But it is kind of already giving you a taste of who is the best team. So whoever wins this is going to go into tomorrow probably as the clear favorite, because it's going to be the only 4 team. And that will be the interesting part. And I think the other thing that's probably going to be very, very interesting is basically that Yushia and Nenris are facing the old Orc. And I think for them it's also important to kind of just show them we're in SK now and we're doing better than you are doing right now. So it's always something to like play into your old Orc and wanting to beat them.
Yeah. I mean, I also have a matchup I really would like to see, because in like the first qualifier of EUC, there has been a lot of teams that performed really well that I think people weren't like really thinking that they would perform well. So we haven't seen Boshonsha Babylon yet. I hope I pronounced that correctly. But they also have like some names on the roster I would love to see. Like they bring in like an Ellie, some very veteran players. And G2 has been struggling today. They won their first game that we had on stream, but I had the feeling that it was like still just because they had the better scaling draft, and then the second game they lost. So I think they are much more vulnerable than we have seen in the past.
Yeah. I mean, I fully agree, but at the same time, I also gotta say I looked a bit at, like, I sneaked on the I didn't see the game, but I sneaked on the screenshot between Eclipse and G2 Hell. One thing important to mention, and this is kind of like a pick when it's so perfect, it can turn an entire best of one on its head. Sana played Ilaoi in that game into a lot of melees, and if that Ilaoi gets fed, you kind of like that. You actually it can be a game deciding champ. In the right draft, that champ is so broken because it's just, you're just gonna run down your lane, you're gonna split push on the other side of the map over and over, and you might think, okay, if you do that, you have the decision, you can throw 3 people on them. But Ilaoi in a good draft, in a good position, it's just gonna 1v3. Like, I even saw a clip, someone played it in LCK, I think, or somewhere, and Ilaoi just basically 1v5ing the game. So it is a strong champ in the right
Yeah,
angles,
and
I think
like
it's also made a big difference.
not to sim too much for Sana, but I'm so glad that she is back because she took like a little time out last year because she was in Australia, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But she is finally back, and no one plays Ilaoi like her in this like whole scene, maybe worldwide. So I love to her to come back into this tournament, bring out the spicy picks, give us the Ilaoi, and I'm so sad that we didn't see it. And I hope that we will still get the chance in the next 2 days to see it live.
Yeah, indeed. And we're getting closer to draft, by the way. Don't you worry. We're getting a step closer. But I mean, there's still mentor rush against Eclipse as well. Considering like this is also so interesting to look at because, like I said, Eclipse win. I mean, it's the best of one. Not to take away from Eclipse. I mean, them showing they can match up with G2L is a very, very good sign, and just Dark Horses matching up against them, right? But now Mental Rush got beaten by G2, but Eclipse beat G2. But I still feel like Mental Rush has the edge over Eclipse, so that will be interesting to see that result.
Definitely, and we made it in.
We did. We made it to draft. Good job, my 2 yappers. You did amazing.
First ban already.
Instant Orianna ban.
It's interesting.
Right.
Always welcome. I think
I mean,
mid
but
lane
not
is
on
too.
that side.
Yeah, but mid lane is too interesting to just play the same champions all over again. So if you have like players that like to play Siluses, that like to play Akalis, you don't want any boring like control mages blocking your mid lane, and that's definitely what Orianna would be doing in this case.
Yeah.
So you're still banking on a Silas pick here?
I'm hoping to see a Silas.
Oh, that would be. I would love it. Wait, actually, there's some LeBlanc and Zafir is the mid lane, right? Like, there's some LeBlanc in the match history. I think Zafir is mainly playing on another server, so that doesn't count to compete in this tournament. So it also makes it a bit more wild than what we're gonna see. But I see a LeBlanc. That would be so cool.
I actually like count LeBlanc more as traditional mid laner now because I started playing League at a meta where she was like always picked. So whenever I see LeBlanc, I'm like, oh, that's such a meta pick. It's like engraved in my brain. I just have her like saved up as like a normal mid laner, so that doesn't excite me anymore. It has to be a bit more spicy than that. Like it has to be like Akali, Siluses, maybe like a Swain. Who knows? Maybe one day we will get a Swain too. But I really love the bans. Like they just really said we hate like these scaling meta picks. No Kales, no Smolders allowed, no Lulus.
And that's just the Ahri, okay.
That's just the Ahri.
Well, I mean,
and
it is
all the spice just flew out of the window.
Yeah.
One big swoop of the wind.
Bye bye.
Well, we tried, guys. We tried.
Yeah, we tried.
We really built that up for that to just be the Ahri, but we could still, you know, be excited about it.
We definitely are. I love to see Ahri, especially into Ryze. There's just like scaling happening. The Ahri can't really do much against the Ryze. He will just like have his snooze fest of farming in the mid lane. But I like the Nocturne. See, the spice is back. We brought the Nocturne in.
Yes.
And you have like this like angle of realm roping Ryze with the paranoia of Nocturne behind enemy lines, and I love that.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, this is also giving me the feeling that EMEA wants to like heavily play into side lane, right? So like you have a Ryze who's generally like a strong side lane, and while it's still the realm mob is a tool to also force team fights, it's kind of like Nocturne can just more easily with a high range ultimate to go into side lane, play into there as well. I'm interested to see because like we already see the Misfortune, but I think Rakan can be a very strong pick if they
Oh yeah! Sure, Akali. There's your spice. Let's go.
Okay.
Spice is back. The Spice has entered the building, and I love it because, as Joe said, we just have like 2 champions now that can really greatly split push, but also can annihilate that poor MF's lives. And I have to say, it's really brave in the first place for the Ionian girls to pick the Misfortune if they can already see the Nocturne, because that Misfortune is not gonna have much luck finding good positions for her bullet time, because there's so much backline access. I'm feeling a bit for her.
Yeah.
Bit sorry.
Yeah, and then Akali on top of that, I mean, no thank
Yeah.
No
There's so much pressure also into side lane, and on top of it, you know what's another interesting part about the Akali is Akali Ryze. Theoretically, those are both champs you could put into top lane and mid lane. I mean, you normally always see Ryze in mid lane, but they have the option. It's probably Ryze mid lane or they picked it into Ahri, but I'm just saying, if they're gonna go really spicy, that's something. But either way, They have super strong side lane control, so now I would just like to see InFuria to pick some more wave clear. Like, what's there? Okay, Sivir, probably not because we have like a Jordan and they could easily get to Sivir, not the highest range.
Also,
but it would
George,
be
this is not SK, this is no snooze fest. We don't pick Sivir here, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, they're actually just going engaged, by the way. Okay,
you know what
I
would be
thought
like great here? Like a Samira or something, like Rel Samira, just like for some extra more diving.
It would be, I mean, Rel Samira, that's a lane you have to play into then, as a misfortune with low mobility. Makes it very hard for her. But I do agree with Josh that they might need a little bit more wave clear. So maybe looking into something like, I don't know, a Zaya that can also be left on their own, so that the Rel can rotate around. But now we see Renata and Gisante as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I like the Renata because... Oh,
that
wow.
makes
Okay,
sense.
that's wave clear.
Yeah.
That makes sense, yeah.
Well,
But
yeah.
I really like the Renata because in this case,
For sure.
all that the girls want to do is like go in. InFuria wants to engage. They want to send in the Nocturne first. Meanwhile, Akali is waiting in the flank. The Rel wants to engage with Nocturne together. And all that Renata has to do is just throw out her ultimate, just create some space, trying to protect the misfortune that whoever gets targeted by the Nocturne can stand up again and can find a new. So I really like the 4th and 5th pick of the Ionian girls.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I'm also surprised by InFuria to delay the IADC pick to R5 basically when I already saw the misfortune. It's kind of weird. It's something you generally don't see like R5 ADCs that many times, the last pick ADC. And they did it even though they already saw it. So it kind of made the draft a bit weird. And also the Corki, I feel like they're still going to have a hard time to deal with a champ like Gisante. So that's kind of interesting. I must say I kind of like the draft from Ionian girls because I think they have a lot of peel tools for misfortune and still a lot of engage angles and just the easy peasy we just press, like Javna into MFR, and if they're fast enough they still will put out so much damage. So I kind of give it to them.
Yeah, I have to say I feel you because Renata is so good, but okay, so I gotta do this. I'm gonna quickly toss the caster. Sorry, Joy, I stole your job. I'm still the host in heart, and we toss over to our casters and ask them, does the Renata carry the whole game?
Well, we are about to find out because we are getting into our game here. We have both teams wandering out onto the Rift, and I'm gonna ask you, Rob, what do you think? Do you think this Renata can carry the game?
I really do like Blue Side's draft here. I think you've got plenty of disengage, as with that Renata ultimate. I think you've also got an ability with Gisante to sort of peel back. And if you look at the red side draft, what are they doing? Well, most of them are flying in there, right? Rel, Nocturne, Akali. I'm seeing here as team fights go down, you could use the Warden power of Gisante to get one out, Renata over the top. Then you get the MF ult. I'm looking at Blue Side to be the stronger team going into this game.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly agree with you here as we're kind of... I'm just looking across here. You've got a Renata that is going to be up against a Nocturne, an Akali, a Rel. Even Corki is a fairly... Like, when he wants to actually fight, he's fairly short range with the Gatling gun. There's a lot you gotta worry about if you're fighting into a Renata here. And that can crop up really, really fast in some of these team fights.
And again, the only thing I'm seeing as inroads here for Red, right, is if you are going to be able to sort of take it to them in the bot lane here, get Corki fed, and then he could avoid getting hit by the hostile takeover. He is a champion.
There's a lot of ifs.
Yeah, there's a lot of ifs here. But this is a champion. If you get your Trinity Force spike early enough, the burst that comes through with that champ is absolutely disgusting, as we do get the overlay coming back for us. And then on the other side, if you do get leads on something like, well, if you get leads on an Akali, for example, that is a champion that can take over a game. A Ryze can take over a game. So there's lots of individual firepower here. But again, stylistically, I am still preferring side of blue.
Absolutely. It is, I would expect, a fairly straightforward early game. Looks like we're going to get some level of early action because they want to get involved on this Nocturne before the level 6. With that early Jarvan spike, they have the MF damage as well. They're just going to take away this blue buff, and Morphine's going to walk in and see, hey, that's supposed to be mine. And we might take your life for it. Gonna get the blue buff, but Morphine's gonna flash away. Don't think you're living through that one. And it is Misfortune picking up the kill, meaning we got double buffs on an early game bully KD carry.
So they push in bot.
Yep.
Do in Ionia girls. They then move into the jungle, punish the Nocturne, who also burns flash, which is incredibly painful. His bot doesn't move. Well, their bot doesn't move, and Nocturne isn't able to deal with that threat. And now we're seeing a slight lead. As you said, the double buff transfer is complete, and MF can bully and lanes at the best of times. And now you put that on top of there. Not going to be running out of mana. Double ups coming out absolutely massive. Got to see what Nocturne wants to do now. She's going for the top crab.
It's really brutal with MF because not only are you getting the mana regen to just kind of spam your Q is going to apply red buff as well. So it's genuinely just really difficult. And I know Siostra is going to be very happy to have those double buffs for the next couple of minutes. Also means this Nocturne is behind on getting to level 6, which is the exact opposite of what you want. So I'd say InFuria, little bit on the back foot in this early game, definitely.
Trying to maybe cover for a play here in mid lane is Morphine, but she's not going to get anything as more damage comes down. You see the Corki taken already to half HP. Bit of a running rings around kind of moment coming out from the jungle here, because they're going to get the topside camps and then clear into bot again. And Nocturne's going to get, what, Krugs? It's very, very gold starved and, as you said, XP starved Nocturne.
XP is like the big thing, because if you know anything about Nocturne, you want that level 6, and the first ult always means so very much. We're seeing Ilya walk down, get some vision down, gonna try and keep an eye on where this where this Jarvan is with Clefairy, and see if they can track the Jarvan, give Morphine some time to get to that level 6 point. But right now it is walking in the dark for InFuria.
And if you again look at how the team comps sort of interact here, we're favouring blue side when the team fights come down, when there's 5v5s, right? If the gold is even, we're pretty happy with what they brought to the table. So the fact that you're putting the Nocturne behind on a comp that we would like to see sort of get leads to be able to give, gold into the Akali, gold into the Corki, get sort of ahead of the curve. It's always already a concerning sort of notion. It's almost 1,000 gold in the lead for Ionia girls, and they're not really showing any sign of life here in InFuria Esport. They're not really looking for any kind of anything plays across the map, because they can't really do that, right? What does Nocturne do pre-6? He walks up and tries to fear you. Not going to happen. And now there's a level lead in jungle, as we've already seen. They have first move onto the Dragon, Ionia girls, and InFuria Esport, if you're going to fight here, you better bring numbers, because they are still in the lead again.
They do have level 6 on this Akali. That is one of the big things. So that is a big spike, but I think they correctly realize this is not a fight we want to take. Nocturne just hit level 5. Dragon will go over to Ionian girls, who are just taking this early game to a really solid start. Now, it's a lead, but it is not a back-breaking lead, all things said.
No, it's not, you're not running away with it beyond that first sort of scuffle in the jungle as Morphine's trying to look for something, but still, only level 5. Plays are very hard to make here, and there can be a threat from the Rel, but Renata versus Rel, that interaction, you just get usually handshaken out of the crash down. So they're just going to let this wave move in. There's not really a play for Rel to make. And now, Nocturne's taking Crab. Still not 6. Still not 6. Like, still not available.
Still not 6. In comes Clefairy, who is level 6. They're going to see the Jarvan. This is counter gank opportunity, but I think they're going to just not engage on this. And Morphine's going to look at it and say, you know what? Let's not do this. Now, I do get why Morphine is doing this. There weren't any camps to take. What else are you going to do?
So, well, at least now there's something. But yeah, there's a bit of free time, right? There was a little bit of free time for the Nocturne to sit bot. But yeah, the pace of the game for InFuria is incredibly slow. With favouring blue side in team fights means that the pace of the game is favouring blue side here. Nocturne will get 6 off these camps. So let's see where that first Nocturne ult actually does go, because you do need to start seeing things come out. Because if you look at sort of CS across the board, there's Cassante versus a ranged top lane that the Cassante is doing absolutely fine. In mid lane, there's a small lead for Ahri. In bot, there's a small lead for the Corki. But there's still nothing that really blows open the game. So I'm still looking at that first Nocturne ultimate to really force a play here for InFuria.
Yeah, and the worst part is that, like, InFuria's spike really was hitting that level 6 mark across most of this team, right? Like, they hit level 6, they've got an Akali that can pop off really hard, they've got the Nocturne that can do something, but that's just not happening. We're past the level 6 mark, and they still can't find a way in. Mita now roaming over to the mid lane, gonna walk in onto Saphira and get a stun. There comes the Akali ult, should be a dead Ahri. Flash does not actually will get the kill eventually under tower, which we're going for a play on top side too. We're going to see this Rise go down, and it will be a trade 1-for-1. Marcercia not able to stay alive, and that Rise will fall.
They do get one grub off the back of this, InFuria Esport, but they traded 1-for-1 in mid, and then they end up losing a member in top. So overall, the play, and 2 grubs also going over to Amigos girls, the overall play is favouring the girls in blue at the moment. And
yeah,
we again want like that first Nocturne ult to make a play happen, but that's not where the focus has been. It was just Rel making a move. Where was Nocturne? Maybe that could have been a kill without needing to trade back over the life of Akali.
Very, very possibly here. We'll see. I do want to call out just because it is confusing. While the Rise's name is Tifa, it is not Tifa. That is an issue that we have had. It is Mercercia is the top laner. However, the account name is Tifa, which is going to get confusing for people. I'm absolutely sure, because it has been confusing for us.
We discussed this behind the scenes. We were like, okay, we've got to remember, we cannot call them Tifa. We've got to make sure that we're not representing the right.
Everybody else on InFuria not only has like the correct name, but also the team name in front, and then we just have Mercercia, who's just like, yeah, like, why do the casters need to know my name?
Oh, again, gets confused with another famous player in the female scene. Like, that makes it a little bit more difficult. But no, I mean, there is a... we can work around that one. But there is now currently a play coming in bot lane. And, wow, Corki gets caught by the handshake.
Oh, yeah. Not going to get hit by the ult, though. But I think Undeserving will be falling here. Fairy grabs that kill. Mita now just trying to walk away. Slowly but surely will get walked down. And I think they're going to get this kill. No, it goes over to... who's going to actually take the kill away. Unfortunate. Think you'd rather have your MF get that, but it is money for Ionian girls, who are really pulling away from it. Morphine having to use the spell shield to not get knocked up. Gonna go for the fear and keep walking away, but it is more resources being stolen from InFuria.
This Jarvan really is running the map. 2-0-2 right now, 4 out of 5 KP. The only kill that the Jarvan wasn't a part of was that sort of 1-for-1 trade in mid lane, and now covering bot lane, Clefairy, she's going to be able to get her AD carry out here. There shouldn't be a counterplay on the MF. Wait, are they actually going to try and go for something? No, okay. They're just hovering, but I feel like the bot lane of Fury kind of sniff it out a little bit. They aren't playing too aggressive into what they thought was a solo MF.
I do want to call out here, too. We have not seen a Nocturne ult yet. We are almost 11 minutes. We are 11 minutes into this, and we have not seen a single Nocturne ult. Might get one now as Mita is going to go for an engage. Morphe just going to fly in. Clefairy having to flash away from the fear, and it will just be the disengage. Ult's not being used yet.
No, we are still waiting on that first paranoia. The Dragon and Furia have the first track onto it. They are the first in River, but I wouldn't put it past if Ionian girls should just go for this, because there's still 4 members hovering around, and they're gonna not even want to give this over. The Dragon, okay, it doesn't reset, and Ionian girls are gonna decide to give it over unless there is a steal. I don't see them trying to play a fight here. It's way too late.
No, yeah, it should be a pretty straightforward Dragon. Morphine having to walk up. This is a little bit awkward because they're going to get pinched by Saphira. They're just going to have to go all in. There's a big cataclysm. Mita going into that backline, trying to save the team, giving her life to get everybody else out. It will be a 1-for-0, but a Dragon going over to InFuria.
So that time, I would say getting a Dragon on the board for InFuria, very, very important. It does mean that you can sort of stop that Dragon stacking Soul win con that Ionian girls was building up to with that first Drake. And you do get you do get out there, which, having pulled the trigger with both Cataclysm and with the bullet time, you thought maybe more members would fall. And as we look at the golds, The MF is the one in the lead, but I'm also looking at Corki, you know, staying up there, and the Akali is ahead of her counterpart in mid lane. So maybe there's a chance here for the Akali to get something. Has got that Hextech Gunblade finished, so there is the item spikes coming through. The Nocturne still, I guess, has ultimate haste, so now the ults are going to come out faster, and I'd like to see one. At least one. Maybe top lane.
Yeah. I mean, okay. Considering how good that Cataclysm bullet time was, I say that's a win, getting out of that alive. Because that looked really dire. But they got the dragon, they only lost Rel, and InFuria able to at least like get some momentum going, something going a little bit their way, which is I think the biggest factor right now with a composition that wants to just kind of snowball out of control with this Akali Nocturne. You got to get something going here.
Yes, you really do, and I'm still waiting to see Morphine get into this game. Looking at targets now, though, Ari, obviously past the level 6, by far past the level 6. She's got Spirit Rush, so jumping onto her, difficult. Looking at bot lane right now, are you going to want to jump into the Renata and the MF, who is quite strong? As look at who's laning where. The Akali is currently kind of duo laning in bot with the Rel, and the Corki's getting a bit of gold in mid, but it isn't the lane assignments that you really want to see, because Akali, able to outplay in the 1v1s, much harder to outplay in a 2v2.
Into a Renata.
Into a Renata.
You know, Akali ults, and Renata's just like, well, you're gonna get taunted.
And then there's the bailout as well. The Akali has to get out to mean that even if the burst has come down from the assassin, if the Akali dies, the life is saved by the bailout. Yeah. So it really isn't what you want to be letting into here. You do see
without the bailout, Akali traded 1-for-1 against Ari.
Yeah.
With the bailout, that turns into just a 1-for-0. So definitely not ideal. However, we are going to just see what happens here. We still have a solid gold lead for Ionian girls as they will just continue to push here in this mid lane. Looks like we are going to keep our 80 carries in the mid lane for the upcoming Rift Herald that should be spawning here in just a second. And Ionian girls want to keep the pace moving. They want to keep the pressure on and force these fights as much as possible.
Well, they've got Jarvan, they've got MF. You just pull the trigger on one member, you can blow them up instantly. If you get multiple members, that's just a bonus. And if you can, one of the things I'd like to see here actually in this game is if they can target Rel first, because we did see a 3-man Maniac Storm in that previous Dragon fight, right? If Mita is able to get that counterpunch, she's going to be incredibly important for delaying the backline, cancelling an MF ult. I'm stumbling over my words there. And
it's a lot of letters.
It's a lot of letters in a row. And then being able to play the fight out where maybe they can have an assassination on someone who jumps in first and then like kill the Jarvan first and then move on to the next, where if you're able to blow up the Rel prior to a fight, there's no more engage. You have to have Nocturne flying in, and it makes it a lot more difficult. So bit of patience from that Rel as well, not to step too far forward. I do think here they have to go at some point, because look, Jarvan is just always at the right place at the right time. You want to make a play in mid lane here, as Nocturne say, with a paranoia, Jarvan's there to cover. You want to make a play onto sides, Jarvan has seemingly moved to that side of the map and covered that as well. Nocturne might look, but it's a very risky 3v3.
I think a good way to look at it is if you can get Rel to engage after MF ult has started, that fight changes very rapidly, because that is so much of what Ionian Girls' team fight damage is. It is that bullet time with MF sat down, hitting everybody in a Cataclysm, hitting everybody in a Renata ult, and trying to wipe out the health bars very quickly. If Rel can interrupt that, damage starts to fall off pretty quickly, and you have an opportunity to go for a fight. Dragon going to be started up here by Ionian Girls, and we are positioning for our first 5v5 team fight.
And as you see, Ionian Girls are the ones in the river. They have dropped the Drake here. They're looking to get a push in bot with the Herald and then rotate back to the Dragon, forcing a response from InFuria. Let's see what they want to do here, the red team, because yes, they get the Herald, but now you've given up all positional advantage onto this Dragon. They're going to go in, though. They're going to fight.
Look at Mercertia. She is on the side looking to get a Rift Herald, but here we go. We are going directly in, and that is a huge early start to this fight. Bullet time not going the direction of the Cataclysm, and you can see everybody's just walking out of it. It gets the health bars low. It forces InFuria out of the fight, though, and that will be a dragon. No kills other than the Rel, but Ionian girls able to get another little advantage.
Great handshake from Lorcia there, where the Rel tries to jump in. The Renata says absolutely not, throws the lady on the horse back out again, and now you don't have that initial engage option coming through. They then kill the Rel. Yes, there was a bit of a sort of a split focus of ultimates coming out from Ionia girls, but once you've taken that Rel down, a lot of that sort of CC for the fight is gone. And again, we don't really see a trigger completely pulled by InFuria. One of the biggest strengths of Nocturne isn't just the dash in, it's the darkness. It's allowing your assassin like the Akali to get into positions where she goes unmarked and she's able to then access the backline. We haven't seen that so far. It is going to have to come very soon because at the moment, 1.4k gold lead on a comp I much prefer in a team fight means that it gets harder and harder post 20-25 minutes.
We were also looking at Mercertia in the mid lane on that rise, just looking for the Realm Warp, and didn't really get a great one there. Couldn't find a way into that fight really easily because it was just so hectic. They couldn't find an angle they wanted to actually fight that in because they're simultaneously trying to pinch on both sides so they don't get bullet time cataclysmed, but also they need to kind of have enough of a front line to walk in together and not just get exploded if they walk in at the wrong time.
I think the setup I want to see from InFuria is Akali on an off angle or flank. Darkness comes down, access from Akali as Rel comes in. That's very hard to communicate. That's very hard to coordinate when you are so worried about being, say, you've got that sort of 1-4 split. You are worried about just being slammed by the Cataclysm bullet time on the 4. You lose multiple members and the Akali is left going, where's my team? You know, that's where we're making a play, guys. So I do think that is what's required. There is going to be a bit more of an execution here coming out from Red Side as this goes on. And yes, they're sort of hovering around mid. They're trying to break this mid tier 1, but Ionia Girls aren't really giving that over. And now members of Ionia Girls are coming to support. And now they're going to be able to push in mid themselves. They need to still do something. I really need to see a play from InFuria because as this goes on, they are one combo away from just dropping out of the game.
Yeah, and I think that's something we just haven't had a chance to really discuss so far is just the ease of execution between the two compositions. It seems like the determining factor here, as Undeserving having to Valkyrie away, Saphira using the ult, not getting anything, so that is one ultimate down. But you look at Ionian Girls' composition, and it is a front-to-back, push-R, team fight composition, whereas InFuria, as you just talked about, there's a lot of flanking, there's a lot of communication, there's a lot of timing that has to work out correctly. And Ionian Girls don't have to worry about that as much. They just see hero, kill hero.
And that is, again, when you're playing in these to sort of decide engage, remember both of these teams are 1 and 2. Hold on a second. Rel is kind of caught a little bit.
Will get hit by the flag and drag. Undeserving coming around to help Rel get out of there, but HP loss, not nothing.
Not nothing. Dropping the Celestial opposition as well makes Rel a little bit more concerned about just looking for a YOLO engage. But back to the point I was going to make, both are 1 and 2, right? This is, if you want to make that climb up into that top 8, it is a mountain to climb from the bottom of a Swiss stage. But if you want to make it happen, you can't be dropping games now because if you're going 1 and 3, you're not seeing a path there to that top 8. So this is where it starts for both of these teams. And when you are in that scenario, ease of execution and comfort nearly always wins out because you'll have had a rough day, right? You've dropped a couple games. If your head is still there, you don't want to be sat there having to also concentrate 4th game of the day on a difficult to execute comp because it is tiring to play that many games of League focused for that long.
Yeah, it's also specifically too, these are teams that you got to prove that you can beat this level of competition and then punch above your weight class afterwards. Because both of these teams kind of coming in being not the teams that are on the high end of expectations. This is about where we would expect these teams to be. Now they've got to win this game and then do something more. Morphine just gets a wall thrown at her, and Mita is also going to pay for it. Big CC, but there is nobody there to follow up. And InFuria, again, the communication, the face checking, that is exactly what you don't want to see for them.
You need them all to be on the same page. Morphine cannot be going in first. She cannot be getting caught initially because that Nocturne Darkness is so important for setting up those kind of flank angles. It also would cover a Realm Warp as well. So Nocturne falls first, then the Realm next means that all of your tools of getting in there really are gone. And now you're playing side laning. Wow! What?
Oh my god!
Where did... There was an Ahri on my screen. I actually genuinely didn't believe that much damage was going to come through.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those times where you go like, yeah, you could say popped like a balloon, but that doesn't feel accurate enough.
I'm actually... I've seen Akali's. The Akali didn't even have Shadow Flame completed. She was sat on Gunblade and components with the boots, so the fact that that much damage comes through is pretty impressive, and maybe this gives you a small inroad here if you're able to play sides, keep punishing an Ahri in that way, get the Akali fed. But still, I'm looking at team fighting, and it is going to come down to the Queen in the mid lane for InFuria to really step up here, because if you manage to play that on sides, now you're going to have to do that in team fights.
So one, I want to call out, like, yeah, this Akali, all of a sudden, I have a little bit of hope for InFuria. Like, that fueled me a little bit. Also want to point out, this is an Akali without Ignite. This is an Akali with Cleanse of all summoner spells. So doing that without Ignite, and now, like, okay, we've got Akali all up again, by the way. We could do some crazy stuff again, but we got to get the team fight. We have to find, like you said, the flank where Akali can get into that backline, blow up the MF, and have Renata panicking, trying to get the bailout across in time.
I think that your target here could go on to being that Renata, because if you can force the bailout onto her, then you can try and then maybe flip again onto the MF, but they're going in here, InFuria.
Cataclysm will get a couple, and Renata ult hitting. Mita gonna go down, but there's still a lot of fight left to play. Nocturne going in onto that backline. Morphine going to try and kill onto this MF, but cannot get the kill. The bailout was ready for it as well. Lorcia will go down now, as there will be a couple of kills traded back for InFuria, but I think it is still a fight that is mostly advantageous here for the side of Ionian girls.
The goal lead has shrunk, mostly off of the plays on the side by Queen Ilia, but you see there, it looks like a fight that InFuria want to take, so it being a 2-for-2 in favour of Ionia girls, you'd say it is beneficial because they were not the ones to pull the trigger, they simply responded. And
also came out healthier a little bit, so they could
little
still
bit
move
healthier
on the map.
Exactly, and that was also a great response here from the Cassante, immediately moving up off of that play, right? Not skipping a beat, not sitting there and going, oh, well, maybe I have to cover the player mid, maybe I have to Usher base, taking that top turret now, getting a bit of gold back into her pocket. Does Masera, oh, not Masera, Unicorn go, wrong side of the matchup. And now
neither top laner using their correct names in their IDNs.
There you go. And, and now I'm looking at here going, well, that fight actually, the counterpunch looked pretty good and it's still up a 2v2. It was very close to being significantly worse for Ionia girls, as we do get the replay, where you see here, InFuria are the first track here into the river in the sense of they're ready for this fight. You see Nikia, like, ready for the play, but then the counterpunch comes through, and I thought this was going to be absolutely disastrous for the red team. Relf was first, but the Akali coming in, and I'm looking at it here thinking, like, maybe a flip from an Akali, instead of going towards the top side of that fight, maybe going towards the MF could have led to a bit of a better resolution. But it's really damn close, Thousand Eyes. Really, like, razor-thin margins there.
Yeah, and I think specifically, too, you're looking at that fight was a scramble, and that's exactly the kind of fights that InFuria want to have. It was not a front to back. You saw how the Cataclysm, the Renata ult, the bullet time went across, and it was all coordinated in the same place. They only got the rel because it was just, they were able to funnel out from that area, so there was just not a way to actually get everybody in the same spot for that big wombo combo, and that's the fight InFuria wants. However, they couldn't close it out. The Rise a little bit too late, the Akali not able to get the kills thanks to the MF being able to stay alive. We're on the edge there, but it's just still a moment away from InFuria. If they can find the right fight, maybe they can crack this game open.
And again, I'm still looking at Queen Ilia in mid lane. I'm still looking at it going, okay, the Akali has to run rampant in these fights. If you get hit by a handshake, if you get hit by a hostile takeover, a charm, there's lots of little bits of CC here that could spell doom for the side of InFuria. If that star in the mid lane at the moment, the Akali, is hit by them. So almost you have to throw bodies in front of them, make sure those cooldowns are used on someone else before the Akali can really run around and actually take down the MF, who is... Oh, she's 5-0-3. That's an incredible from it. 3 items online already. I would love to see an Edge of Night actually coming out from this MF, because I do think you can sort of be able to deal with, you know, the Nocturne ult. It will just drop the spell shield. You'll still be able to see like a Kali.
Ooh,
like
charm.
The CC
Big charm.
Rel. That's a big charm.
Mita does not have the follow-up flashes, still will go down, and this play has gone all wrong now, and you could see, look at Ionian girls all together. They're just going to go right in on a Morphine, who is going to get caught out, doesn't have the flash to get out, just has to go straight back in, and this is not a fight that we want to see from InFuria. Bullet time actually will get 1 kill, undeserving now, backing away. Hailed HP bars are getting a little bit low. Queen Ilia looking to get back in as we see Mercertia falling low, will get run down. There's no front line. There's not enough HP for InFuria to take this fight, and without the Akali ult, I don't think they can get much more.
I really think you can play aggressive here if you want to. Force out the mid and the bot lane of InFuria and then go for the dragon. The flash charm! Cleanse used.
Cleanse used. Where is Akali going to go? Into the ground. Dead. As that will be Queen Ilia falling. I like the look. Again, charm. Finally hitting. Getting the cleanse out here, which is, I think, really, really important, because the reason we're seeing so much cleanse is not for the Ahri, it is for that Renata ult. So that Akali can dive in, Corki won't blow up his own team, Nocturne has a spell shield built in already. There's ways to deal with this Renata ult, but if you're using them on the charm, that's not the ideal.
And you sort of see a dream start here for Ionian girls. They pick up the engage support. This is something that we've sort of adopted since 2024 Worlds. We see a lot more just force onto the support, get rid of them. Morphine the next one, that's the next target. Dashes on top of the Cassante. She tries to get out of there, not going to happen, blown up. And then the Akali, Queen Ilia, she tries her best. But it's not going to be enough.
Crazy. That's
it's a lot of damage, but
in an even fight, that's a crazy Akali play. Unfortunately, all it does is get them a kill, and everybody else just kind of falls apart. Unironically, I think if InFuria take that fight on their own terms, that turns into something amazing there. Fortunately, we do see then Queen Ilia getting caught out. Charm Flash from Saphira will grab the kill as we move back into real time. Baron being hovered over as Ionian girls want to try and close this game out soon.
Yeah, and they can just force
Morphine,
again.
no!
Oh, no!
No! You aren't safe that way, and InFuria, again, just the mispositioning is hurting them so bad.
I think InFuria should recognize here, if you give this Baron over, this game is very hard. You see Ilia going for the Hexgate, maybe looking for a flank. No. Where is the Akali going? Are they looking to wrap around? Because they're just trying to get a mid-push. They're just looking to get mid-push. I thought maybe they'd try going for a play here. I do think it's actually very hard once this Baron goes down. Now for InFuria to really play the game, because you could just siege even just one lane here, and it's very... You don't have the greatest long-range wave clear, right? Akali doesn't provide that to your team. Corki has to really step up, just fire rockets from range to try and kill minions as they're being blocked by a Cassante. Not going to happen. So the siege as well for Ionia girls, a little bit stronger with this Baron now. You're going to have to make one more Hail Mary play, and it's going to have to come through the Rel staying alive first. Magnet Storm, Akali flipping on top. Probably from an angle. Making that happen when the control of the map is firmly in the favor of the enemy team is very, very difficult. You have to find pockets of vision that, at the moment, don't really exist. There are openings here. The one I'm looking at here is a potential rail engage on this siege. The next one would be around that Elder Dragon in 3 minutes, because they're waiting. I think they do need to start going, because this siege, if you lose mid and bot inhib here, and then they rotate to top, it's going to be very hard for you to deal with those side waves. Ilia's pushing mid, but going in. Oh my god, no. Well, they get the kill, but trades. It's a trade. And I think that, again, you are seeing some items finally coming through. I do think you want to be getting at least one more completion onto Corki before you're really happy taking fight. Interested to see what this item is. It looks like, is that shield bow going to be completed on Corki? That's an interesting choice. It's not the most common Corki combo, but maybe gives you a bit more survivability against this sort of wombo combo that's potentially landing on your head. You can only Valkyrie so far, my friend, and that will keep you alive a bit longer. But elsewhere, now if you are the side of Ionia girls, you've got lost your AD carry, you're waiting for that respawn, which is come through now. Let's see what your next play is, because once you've got all 5 members, you still feel more confident. They're pigging on the top wave here. They want to try and get a push in mid, rotate to top, get that outer turret, get more gold into their back pocket, and then you can reset, then look for a play maybe to get some vision on the bot side for this Elder spawning in 1 minute 30.
Yeah, and we've already said the Akali's crazy good right now. Akali also just got 1,000 gold shutdown. Akali is absurdly strong right now, and that has been InFuria's linchpin of this comp so far. If they have been able to win something, it has been off the back of Queen Ilia doing crazy things, and they need to keep doing it because now there's another siege happening. Baron is gone. They are going to continue pushing. They're going to continue to get a lot of damage down. Not a lot of damage on Amida, though. And this Rel can still look for it. Engage. Corki starting to hurt a little bit. That's Hex Optics that has been completed.
I wondered if there would be a survivability aspect here, because I do think the Corki has had not a rough time. It only died once, but it's one where you have to play so safe against what's coming out, because you get hit by anything here with a Hex Soul as well. We didn't get to mention that. You'll be slowed even off of the Valkyries. Mita's in a weird position here.
We're going in? Don't have the follow-up, and here comes the ult. Cleanse used on nothing for Undeserving. That means the Charm is going to get the kill. Now we see this Akali going in, going to get Cassante ulted for the suppression, and that might be it. Mercertia running away, has the pop on the tier item, and I don't think there's a way out of it for this one. It is 5 people against 2 right now, and Ionia girls might have just closed out to go 2-2 right now.
2-2, the climb begins for Ionia girls. They will end the game here, even with the Nocturne flying in, the Nexus will fall. And this was, I wouldn't say necessarily the cleanest game. There was an Akali trying to run rampant, but generally they played to their win conditions. Team fight, wombo combo, incredibly well. A couple mistakes there getting caught, MF getting caught in mid lane, slows getting down a little bit, but generally it was all Ionia girls all the way.
I would almost say this was a 90% clean game, and like Queen Ilia was like, I don't even want to say that was messy in terms of how Queen Ilia got her kills, because she just did crazy stuff, just wild Akali things. So I want to give full credit to Queen Ilia on that. The slight mix-ups are just those fights that didn't go perfectly front to back, were kind of scrambles. Overall, though, Ionian girls looked really, really solid in that game. They just got to keep it up for their last game of the day, which we are going to get ready for, guys. We are going to see these rest of the games through, see what we get for our possibly last game of the day. We're going to send it to a quick break while we get ready for it, though.